The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Now in our 10th year of broadcasting each week, we continue talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support those with needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom located in the Waikapu Base Yard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. During this hour, we're going to share some of the experiences of our nonprofit agencies and just how they're changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope for those with needs. Today, we're going to start off the show talking with Courtney. Hello. How about, just a second. Why do I have a problem with that? Because you don't use that as your email address. Mm-hmm. That's the problem, right? Ikawa?
Ikawa, yeah.
Ikawa. I put an extra syllable in there. Ikawa. Courtney Ikawa, who is the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Maui. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
So, how long have you been in that position now?
A year and a half, almost 2.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Boy, time flies when you're having fun, huh?
Right.
So how old is your little one now?
He's a year.
He's a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you can't believe that either.
No, not at all.
Time flies.
Yeah. We don't even know where that last year went.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah.
I'll bet. So, Big Brothers Big Sisters. Now, you've had quite a busy summer from some of the things I saw on your website with activities and so forth. Is the summer more involved because the kids are out of school, or?
It's actually more of our downtime for our after-school programs.
Okay.
We just did the summer food service program with the Maui Food Bank and Simply Healthy Cafe. So we were able to give 20 hot meals 3 days a week to the youth in Halemakana or in the nearby communities to come eat lunch.
Cool. So they come on to your place,
Mm-hmm.
in your mentor center?
Yes.
Is that where you serve?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that I've brought up the mentor center, that's right there in the same. Well, let's put where you are. You're located at.
The address is 200 Waimaluhia Lane, and that's right in Halemakana.
Okay, and that's right across from like the new McDonald's out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, it's
Yep.
not so new anymore, yeah.
Right. We still call it new, too, when we're giving people directions.
Yeah, that's true. People haven't been out there for a while. They go, where did that come from?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But there's a lot of traffic out there these days.
there is. Yep. It's kind of scary crossing
yeah.
the street.
Not only that, but also driving, because there's different ways to go this way, that way, and you can't cross over, turn left, most places,
Yeah.
going in either direction,
Yeah.
actually. So you kind of have to keep your eyes open.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it's worth it.
It is.
And it's your own space, right?
Yes.
That was built for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
About 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, it served you well.
It has. It has. We're really lucky.
Yeah. So, the summer activities, you just said 20 people or 20 students for lunch 3 days a week, which for many of these students, that's a rarity to be able to say they had a full lunch. Because at school they would have the lunch,
Yes. Yeah.
but in the summertime that's gone.
Yeah, it's hard. A lot of their parents are working multiple jobs, and they didn't have breakfast because the parent left before the child woke up, or so it's been really great to be able to provide this service for the kids. And a lot of them we don't really service in our after school program because they don't meet the age requirements, so we were able to kind of meet a lot of new faces.
Oh, so are they younger?
Yeah, a lot of them tend to be like first grade,
Oh,
kindergarten.
really?
Yeah.
So who's they're staying with a relative or a neighbor or somebody, and
Yep,
all
it's
kinds of
questionable,
things. Gotcha.
but
We won't
yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
But yeah, they do have like a neighbor they're supposed to be checking in with, or a grandparent. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, those are future littles.
Yes. Yes.
And for those of you who don't know what littles are the other half of the bigs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So let's tell the folks out there. I know they probably a lot of them know this, but there's probably a lot that don't. The bigs and the littles. What's that all about?
So our littles, they range from 6 to 16 years old, and it's really anyone seeking a role model, just someone to be by their side that's not necessarily their parent or guardian. They can confide in and learn things from. And our bigs, they're volunteers with big hearts, and they give up their time either once a week or a couple times a month to just hang out with their little and share new experiences with them, guide them, just kind of listen.
Yeah, and just give them that missing piece in their life.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the guys are mentoring the littles who don't have a father image or a male image at home or an uncle to buddy with, and so they fill that gap.
Yeah.
And show them what a solid young man they can all become. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the same thing with the girls, with the women. It's interesting to me that you're always short some male role models.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there just that many more boys who need, or just can't get those males off the dime to come down and
Yeah, I think
help
it's a combination of the two. I think there are just a lot of young boys out there that are without a male role model in their life, and then I don't know, I think just men get scared a little bit about the commitments, you know. So it's a little tricky trying to encourage them.
Right.
And so we try to do one-time volunteer opportunities for them, just to kind of take a step in and see what it's about, and help them realize it is a big job to take on, but it also won't require, for you to give up a lot of your time.
Right. And I think that's the important thing for people to know, is that you're not looking for 3 times a week like your lunch or
Yes.
something. You're not looking for 3 times a week. You're not looking for expensive outings to movies, dinners,
Right.
things like that. And matter of fact, you almost kind of say don't. This is a one-on-one, just you and the little getting to know each other.
Yeah, quality time.
And I think I saw a comment someplace on your website where it says, what if we don't start off talking to each other? Sometimes you have troubles communicating right from the start. You've got help for them for that.
Yes, yeah. So we have case managers assigned to each match, and so there's somebody guiding you throughout the whole experience, so you're never alone. And we also have opportunities for the bigs to get together with each other and kind of learn from each other as well.
Learn what works for somebody else.
Yeah.
And give it a try yourself. That's neat. So, like, if you were coming in to volunteer, I'm going to kind of put you in the guy's role model of playing here for a minute. If you were thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a try. What happens? I mean, first of all, you have to be matched up with someone. And there's a committee that does that. Is that right?
Yeah, it's our case managers. So,
Okay.
you'll go through, we have an application, obviously, and then we do an interview, which is pretty extensive, to get to know you and what you're looking for. So we try to match you with someone that you would enjoy hanging out with, too.
Right.
So we're not going to just pair you with any
Right.
child.
If you're totally athletic, you don't want to be paired up with somebody who's totally academic.
Yes, or into video games and doesn't go
right.
out of the house.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so try to, pair them accordingly to their interests and what they're looking for. Maybe their experiences might match up with kind of what the child is looking into. Maybe they want to be a firefighter, so if we have a firefighter, then we match them together,
Cool. Yeah.
So,
You also do serious background checks.
yes,
on the
yeah,
bigs.
yeah, that's the next step. And then we do provide a training as well online. That's through our national office. So
Okay.
all bigs go through that. And then when we do find a potential match, then we let you know of all the information about the child. And if it seems like a good fit, then we set up a match meeting. So that's when the family and the child comes usually to our office. And
okay.
then that's when everyone meets for the first time. And, we go over kind of our policies while they're matched. And then the big and the little get to spend a little time on their own to talk about different things they want to do together, in the first few outings. And then from there, they're kind of on their way. And we check in every month. So, and of course, the big is able to reach out to us in between those scheduled check-ins. And then really at the 90-day mark of the match, we also do an evaluation and make sure that things are going well. And if it isn't, then we can look into, looking for another match or things like that. But usually we've had pretty good
Your matches work out pretty well.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great because, I guess what I'm thinking of is I can envision you've got two outdoor types who maybe even athletic types. They want to go watch ball games and maybe play some tennis, do whatever. And that's the kind of activities you're looking for, is that, and maybe some ocean activities, beach things and so forth. And so, I think at one point I had a feeling that some people kind of resisted getting involved because it looked like you were adopting somebody that was going to cost you money, that you were going to have to get them clothes, you were going to have to get them, all this kind of stuff. And that's not what it's about.
Not at all. A lot of our pigs end up doing that because they want to, though, but it's not a requirement at all.
Right, yeah. So I think that's neat, and while there are so many things that do cost money, if the big is in a position where they want to do that, it's totally on themselves.
Yeah, and I think the only other major thing we need is a reliable vehicle because they're transporting the child.
Right.
But other than that, there's really not a huge cost to volunteering.
Interesting that the first meeting is with the child's family. So you get to know how many brothers and sisters, mom or dad or aunts, uncle, whoever is taking care of this child.
Yes, yeah.
So you have kind of a frame of reference when you start talking about things in their lives.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's good.
Yeah,
Very
and
good.
we like to let the child know that we're all here to support them, and so bringing everyone together, I think, is really important at the start of that.
Yeah, right at the beginning, because you can get way off track.
Yeah.
In a hurry when you start talking about things, and I picture somebody just kind of telling how they wish it was instead of how life really is.
Yeah.
Right? Because kids get a little desperate sometimes when they don't have anybody they can rely on.
Yeah.
They create their own, I don't want to say fake friends, but their own fake life. Yeah?
It's true, yeah.
Interesting. All kinds of ideas are popping through my head here. Maybe that's a good time to take a break, huh? Okay, we'll do that.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's happening in their world. And today we started out the show talking with Courtney Ikawa. How about that?
Yes, you
No
got
notes.
it.
No notes. Who is the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters here on Maui. And we've been talking about how they get together, the bigs and the littles, in the program. One of the things that I'm here, I go down the road, I'm thinking of what I thought during the break, and now it's gone. No, not really. It's when we talk about the children that need a role model. Some are local kids, some are maybe mainland kids who have come over here with their families, and something has happened in the family to lose maybe a mom or dad or whatever. And it's even tougher for them because there is really no family structure beyond that household.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of times we think with the local families, they've got aunts and uncles and cousins all over the place who can help out. But that's not always the case either.
Yeah. So we have quite a mix of both that you've mentioned. And I would say even for our bigs, a lot of them, we have a few local bigs that are from the islands originally, but then a lot have moved here and they don't have family either, so they're looking to connect with a young person.
Right, they may have nieces and nephews, but they're on the mainland.
Yeah, so they miss them, and this is their way to kind of connect.
Yeah, that's a great idea to kind of emphasize that point, that if you can't be with your nieces and nephews, here's a little nephew for you to work with.
Yes, yeah.
Cool. Now, and they come from all over the island. It's not just Wailuku or Kahului based. So what we're saying, I guess, to everyone out there is wherever you are, give you a call.
Yes,
and
please.
that number is
442-7891.
442-7891. Can I remember that one? 442-7891. We'll see. At the end of the show, we'll see how we do.
Okay.
So, or they can go to your website. But now on your website, you got to be a little careful because the website is basically a statewide.
It is.
And so you just kind of have to look for the Maui pieces.
Well, if you hit the volunteer tab, you can put in your contact information, and it should direct it to the Maui office.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I think one of the things that I like about the website is it's got this section called Proven Success. And I mean, it's very, very, very concise, that through this mentoring program, Positive Impact on Youth, over 90% of the keiki in our programs improve in one of the following areas: better grades and scholastic competency, because you also do some after-school studies and things with them, right? Stronger relationships with classmates, family, and friends, and that's because you've learned to trust somebody and work with them, and as you're big. Less likely to be a bully or to be bullied, because you learn a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And why people do it and how they supposedly get by with it, or and then more likely to graduate from high school and college. That's a big one right there.
Yeah.
And then improve self-worth and confidence.
Huge.
Yeah, it's huge. You're right. Can't say anything more about it. It's huge. And then more likely to avoid drugs, alcohol, gangs, and skipping school, because they have kind of a structured
Positive influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And all this as a result of maybe meeting with your big 3-4 times a month
Yes.
and doing something for maybe as short as an hour
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or as long as maybe all Saturday or Saturday afternoon or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
depending on what your interests are and where it takes you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because all of those things that you mentioned, it's just it really just is having one, the studies are based off of just having one positive relationship in your life that, can kind of make you turn
Right,
in a positive way as well.
right. And that's to me, I can't think of anything more important in a child's life than these items.
Mm-hmm.
This is life for them coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got kind of a shaky home life, let me ask you this question. Maybe you can't answer it, but I'm going to throw it out there just in case. Do kids ever come to you or make a phone call to you themselves? Or is it usually a relative who says, I've got this nephew or I've got this grandson?
Yeah, usually in our community-based program, the parents, sometimes a counselor or the social worker might make the referral. But in our mentor center program, a lot of times the kids want to come and sign up, because our office is right there. They're living right there. And so they just kind of see everything happening and they get really excited about
Right.
it. So I think for that program, a lot of the kids sign up on,
Do, yeah.
they initiate the process.
Or they see a small van being loaded with kids going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be, well, how come why can't I go?
Right.
Yeah?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the reason they aren't going is because they're not signed up for the program.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we definitely have a lot of space in that program. So, yeah.
Interesting. Now you have somebody who teaches your mentoring program.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was on the show with us.
Yes, Michelle.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
last time or the time before.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating person to talk to.
Yeah.
And she loves what she does.
Yes. Definitely.
There's a very strong connection there to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to doing that work. And
Yeah.
I think that's so important. You can't. It's not something you can just open a book and read it and say, "Okay, I can do that."
Totally. Yeah. We're so lucky to have her.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta feel it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like you. Did you ever think you'd be the director for Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Nope.
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 Just after you finished, well, you went to college.
Mm-hmm.
What you studied? What?
Well, I did my undergrad in criminal justice, but I did my master's in social work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, what a combination, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you see the writing on the wall before it's even finished writing. Kind of, huh? Yeah. But this has got to be fascinating for you
Oh,
to see
yeah.
the different kids
Mm-hmm.
and now that you've been in it for close to 2 years, you're starting to see some of those kids who came in with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
how they've grown.
Well, I've been with the organization for 5 years.
Oh, that's right. You were, yeah.
So I was a case manager for 3 of
Right.
the 5, and so there are still matches going that I was able to put together, and then I get to still be a part of the ones that are being made now. So yeah, it's really awesome. Just such a positive organization to be a part of, and like you have seen, Michelle, there's just a lot of great staff there
Right.
too that make my job really easy. So
Is this something where sometimes you see that aha moment with a child?
Yeah.
That like, oh, that last adventure they went on,
Mm-hmm.
he's ready.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or she's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Turns them around.
Yes.
On,
Yeah.
on a dime without spending any money.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm just constantly, inspired by our bigs and what they come up with to, they get really creative and just really open up a lot of doors for these kids, and that's something they keep talking about, on and on, even if it happened a couple of years ago.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure there's an aha moment for the bigs as well.
Oh, definitely.
It's like, especially like earlier we talked about what if they don't talk to each other and have trouble communicating.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, all of a sudden, they're in sync.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Our time is up.
All right.
Can you believe that?
No.
What have you got going on this afternoon? Something?
Yeah, we have our back to school kind of kickoff event, and so we'll be re-enrolling some of our kids in our after school program, or enrolling new people in the program, and then giving out backpacks with school supplies. Thanks to Maui United Way, we'll have dental screenings through Hui no Keolopono, and Kiki IDs with the fire department, and haircuts through the IBS School of Cosmetology.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We invited specifically all the people already in our programs and in Halemakana, but it's open to anybody else that's wanting to learn about our
Okay.
programs.
What time does that start?
5.
5 o'clock.
Yep, at our office.
Cool. I better let you go so you can get back and work with the staff and be ready.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, Courtney, thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank
being
you,
with us
Susie.
today.
Appreciate
Any
it.
last thoughts you want to put out there?
Well, if you're wanting to be a mentor, it's never too late. So
442.
7891.
There you go. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.
Okay. It's great talking to you again. There's something about the big brothers, big sisters that just, I don't know. I mean, we have so many great organizations, in our nonprofit directors organization, as well as just here on Maui, and I just thoroughly enjoy talking story with all the directors and the staff to see what they're up to, and especially when you're as into it as Courtney. I mean, look at that; she's still smiling from ear to ear after just talking about it for a half an hour. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good one. Okay, we're going to shift gears and we're going to go to Hana.
Aloha.
Actually, we're not going to go to Hana. We brought Hana to us.
That's right.
Right? Okay, we've got Ohana Makamai. We're going to be talking with Cynthia Santiago, who is the director for this program. You're a certified substance abuse counselor. And let's get those cords straightened out so you can
All right.
hear there.
Thank you.
And she has brought with her a new staff member, Mr. Robert Cantrell, clinical supervisor. He's the guy that knows everything, right?
Yes, talk to him.
Huh? Talk to him. Don't talk to you. Come on.
No, we're both here. We're good.
You're both here. Okay, you're good. Tell me a little bit about your background, Robert, and what brought you to Hana.
Thank you. I am licensed in Florida, California, and in Hawaii. I have a master's, an MBA, and then I'm in recovery. And I then went back and got a master's in addiction counseling. Employment-wise, I've been with Hazelton Betty Ford in California, and I also worked on Skid Row in Los Angeles.
Wow.
So I've done the gamut from Hollywood to those that didn't quite make it into Hollywood, or those that made it into Hollywood and then were asked to dropped out, made the G list or something. But anyway, no, I am certified with a program called the Matrix Model of Recovery. And that is focused, and it originated actually from case studies in Hawaii dealing with the crystal meth epidemic, which is now into its third generation on the islands. And there's actually, statistically, from 2017 to 2018, there's been a 142% increase in seizures of federal seizures of crystal meth itself, or as it's more locally known as ice. And it's absolutely at epidemic level.
So that there's more and more coming in.
And more being consumed. At one time, it was a working class drug where an individual would use it to hold down two jobs, and now it's literally wiped out communities and certainly wiped out families. And I believe there was a judge in Honolulu who said that it was Hawaii's gift to the mainland.
Oh gosh.
That and within the
Good, not
past,
good.
right, exactly, within the last 12 months, there's been a 21% increase in deaths related to crystal meth alone. And so we're talking about over 21,000 people that have been affected and lost their life as a result of this use.
Wow. And it starts in many different ways.
Absolutely, and it's amazing because as I said, it was originally used as a working class drug. It's now expanded with the opioid epidemic. That segment of the population is using it to counteract the let's say the drowsy effects of using heroin or fentanyl, which is just killing people left and right. It's also been embraced by the homeless community, and they're using it as a cheap alternative to cocaine or to crack. The amount that a person would spend on a 20-minute high on cocaine would be the equivalent of being up and high for 24 hours using meth. And what studies have found is that with the homeless community, not only is there a dual personality disorder there with mental health issues, but the drug is being used almost as a protective factor. They will stay awake at night, which will lower the risk of robbery or rape. So it's absolutely wiping out not only the working class, but it's wiping out everyone.
My goodness. Is it that inexpensive to get?
Comparatively, it is, and of course the price varies, from region to region. On the mainland, based on a study that just came out from NPR 2 days ago, that there are 7 tons being brought in to the U.S. from Mexico every 3 days.
7 tons.
7 tons.
Every 3 days.
And I'm thinking, what does the average SUV weigh? I mean, that is an incredible amount of drugs. But fortunately, at Ohana Makamai, we're recognizing this crisis somewhat differently than other treatment facilities. We're the only treatment facility in the state of Hawaii that is addressing the epidemic through the matrix model. And the matrix model is it's a 16-week program which can be extended up to a year and a half. And within the program, it's recognizing cognitive behavioral therapy and evidence-based therapies, where an individual is taught early recovery skills, and they're then taught behavioral techniques to block cravings as they occur, with the idea being if you can change a person's belief about a situation or about themselves, you can change the thought pattern, you can change the way they act, you can change their life. It's not there's no moral connotation here. And it's recognizing the importance of dealing with life on life terms at this moment. All of us walked in to today carrying this gigantic hefty bag filled with a lifetime's worth of regret and shame and guilt and hurt and everything else. And we don't have to carry it. Sit it down. And that is one of the important factors of what we're doing.
Oh.
Everyone has value, regardless of where you stand in a community. Everyone has value.
Interesting. So it gets kicked off by something in their life.
I will say this: every addiction on this planet, and the industry itself is getting away from the word addiction. It's substance use disorders. We're walking away from the terminology addiction, and we're walking away from the terminology alcoholism because it's stigmatizing. But at the root of every single addictive behavior on this planet is one word, and that word is pain. and it could be the pain of being rejected, the pain of feeling unloved, sexual identity issues. Everyone's pain is individualized to that person. And what ends up happening is we reach for food, or we reach for online shopping, or we reach for gambling, or we reach for drugs, we reach for alcohol. We never address the pain. And so what happens is what we have reached for to make us feel as good as the person standing next to us is what kills us. And the pain remains, and lives are shattered, and nothing's gained.
Interesting. More on that when we come back from our break.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, your weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out what's happening in their world. During the first half of the show, we talked with Courtney Ikawa, who is the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters. And now during the second half of the show, we are talking with Cynthia Santiago and Robert, and I lost it. Cantrell, hello, of Ohana Makamai from Hana. And just before the break, we were talking about the pain that we all have someplace buried in our lives. And, well, I shouldn't say we all have it buried. We all have pain from something or another in our lives. Mm-hmm. But some have been able to deal with it. Some have gotten over it. Some have kind of stored it in a back of the mind kind of thing. But if that comes forward for some reason, we're headed for a problem.
We're heading for a problem if it's not dealt with. The idea is the catchphrase is trace it, face it, and erase it. We're not
good.
living, we don't want to live in the shadows of our mistakes, recognizing that we're not the sum total of every mistake we've made. People have been victimized, and people have certainly made life choices that in no way benefited them. But we don't have to live in this, as I call it, the hefty trash bag of the past. Yeah. There's a saying, get off the cross and let someone else use the wood, so to speak, and that. But we don't have to. We don't have to live in that.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about what we're doing at Ohana Makamai is that in the 1980s, the matrix model was conceived, and it was based on studies that originated in Hawaii when the stimulant disorders or the stimulant use issues came to light here. What was happening in Los Angeles, people were, it was this open, repetitive cycle where, people would go in for coke addiction, and they were tripping, and everything was, they kept landing back at point zero. And there were, so a group of PhDs from UCLA came to Hawaii and did some studies with people that were in active addiction. And one thing that they found is that historically, a person in active addiction allows the drug to control everything. A drug addiction is a full-time job. You know, it doesn't take a day off. It doesn't care that there's a funeral, there's a wedding, you've got a birthday party. It doesn't care. You know, it's simply that you don't get a day off. And then when you decide you're going to quit that job, it tries to kill you.
Oh.
So what they found out is a large part of the matrix model is recognizing behaviors and irrational behaviors as compared to rational. You know, if we are living with irrational thoughts and irrational behaviors, clearly our lives are going to be out of skew. One thing that is done daily during this program is working with scheduling. Every hour of every day is you decide when you come into a session, you're bringing your rational brain with you. And your rational brain says, okay, well, tomorrow I've got to get up and I've got to have breakfast. I need to do these things before lunch. I need to eat lunch. I need to do these things after lunch. I need to make sure that I go to bed at this hour of the day so I can get this many hours of sleep. And by doing so, you are eliminating any type of irrational behaviors where you're dwelling on your addiction. You know, you're not scheduling in for your irrational brain to say, oh, well, I really want to use crack today. I really want to use meth today. I really want a beer right now. You know, where you're dwelling on that. That was not part of the rational program. And what they found through clinical studies is that in traditional recovery programs, the success rate for every 100 people that will enter into an inpatient program, which is normally about a 30-day program, at the end of 1 year, of the 100 people that have entered getting the exact same information, only 3 remain clean and sober at the end of a year. Now, what they're finding out using the matrix model that we're using, and again, I'm going to toot our horns because we're not only the only program in the state of Hawaii that's using it, but we're also the only program that has an institute educated staff member running it. And what they're finding is that if a person will complete this program and simply follow the directions, that you have over a 75%, and they're actually saying 78% success rate in a year.
Wow.
So, I mean, comparatively, this speaks
There
for
is no
itself. There is no
comparison.
comparison. I mean,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's which addiction is going to do one of 3 things. Well, 4 things. You're going to get sober. You're going to end up in jail, an institution, or you're going to be dead. I mean, there's no other options here.
Wow.
So that.
But what you're doing though is you're teaching them how to plan their days so that there's no time for that.
That's exactly right, and to recognize when a craving and an urge or a craving is normal, because the use itself, if the first time a person used drugs and alcohol, it was the worst experience in the world, they'd never do it again.
Right.
But it wasn't. It affects the pleasure centers of our brain, and it makes us want to do it again. You know, my first experience with chocolate was fantastic, and I've got the waistline to prove it. You know, and the situation is, think of it like this. To simplify this, if I can, let's say I'm a diabetic. Okay, I have no problem telling you I'm a diabetic, and Cynthia walks over and says, "Rob, I really love working with you. Here's this container of jelly beans," and I think, "Oh, I love jelly beans. I mean, some of the greatest experiences of my life have had jelly beans. I mean, I've been to parties, I've had jelly beans. I've been to holidays, there's been jelly beans. I know that I dated and had jelly beans. They're great." So I sit down and I eat the whole container of jelly beans.
Oh.
Well, while we're talking, I start foaming at the mouth and I'm sweating, and you go, "Rob, you look terrible," and I'm making no sense, and eventually an ambulance takes me to the hospital, where they cut off my leg and they take out my kidney and my heart stops and it goes, "Doo," and I'm dead. And my question is, was I responsible for having diabetes? No, I was not responsible. I was born with diabetes. Was I responsible for eating the container of jelly beans?
Yeah.
No.
No.
I was only responsible for the first one. After the first
Oh.
jelly bean, the disease took over. I was responsible. I was completely in control and made a conscious decision. My rational brain, had I had the tools, would have known that the first one I have control over. I could be sitting in an entire room full of jelly beans. They have no power over me. The same with crystal meth. A person that has a stimulant use disorder, they can be in a room filled with crystal meth. It has no power over them as long as they have the tools and are able to make the conscious decision not to use the first one.
Right.
After the first one, it's over. You've lost.
Wow. Fascinating approach to it. Never quite thought of it in that.
So next time you're at the store and
way.
you see jelly beans, you remember
Yeah.
you remember this conversation.
Right.
Thank you for letting me share that.
No, but that's true. And when you think about it, it's there.
Well, and one
And
thing-
you're faced with it every day.
Absolutely. And I think another thing to recognize is that a person that overdoses on crystal meth or on a stimulant, there is no medication at the hospital that's going to save you. Now, they will imagine going 148 miles an hour down the highway. The doctors can't make you go to zero. Your heart stops. They can try to slow you down with a benzodiazepine, a Valium, or something like that, to slow you down to 60 without killing you. With an opiate, there are medications that are available to counteract the reactions of the opiate that could save you. But with a stimulant like crystal meth, there is no medication. It's a hit or miss. Education is critical.
Yeah, evidently.
Letting people see that there's hope.
Is there an age bracket that is more?
At one time, it was right. It was at one time, and I'm using the nation as a whole because that's how statistics are done with this. But it was middle class, middle age, working class males. That is not the case now. It has, in some areas, it has completely wiped out the gay community. In some areas, it's wiping out, the Gen Xers. In Hawaii, it's a non-discriminatory drug. It would just wipe out anyone, as it will wipe out anyone anywhere.
Right.
But, and it's as the government, local government says, it's third generation now.
And it's so easy to get.
Absolutely.
And
And the thing is as back to the jelly bean analysis, with the tools, with the correct tools, lives can be saved. And fortunately, that's what Cynthia and that's our calling.
So as you know, Hawaii has a huge problem with methamphetamines, labeled as number one in the country.
Right.
We don't want to be number one.
That's
in
not
this
one
case.
of those we want. Yes.
Yeah. And so in Hana, we have just as big of a problem as anywhere else in Hawaii.
Right.
And we feel very fortunate to be able to bring the matrix model to Hana to assist in the process of, helping the
Right.
folks that come to our door.
Will you be working with some of the other agencies?
Well, we are,
Along the way?
our mission is in Hana.
Right, that's
We're
true.
one agency, but we do have a sober living house. And we get many referrals from other parts of Hawaii and even outside Hawaii. And we definitely work with whoever we admit to our sober living house.
I see.
Yeah, so we're not exclusive to Hana.
Right.
And we actually have space available. People can call, our office and find out a little bit more about what it means to, or what the criteria is to come into our sober living house.
Okay. And a phone number to call for more information?
248-8538.
Okay. 248-8538.
Yes.
Wonderful. Did I remember the phone number from the first half of the show? Okay.
Neither do I. I want to add that
Sure.
because we have a large Native Hawaiian population in Hana, we also incorporate cultural elements that are extremely important.
True.
Because just approaching it specifically from the way that it's been modeled is is great, but it works much, much better when we incorporate the cultural elements that are necessary as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Much more meaningful.
Right.
Yes, and so we have staff that are able to, bring that in and integrate the matrix model with everything that we need to do to bring in the cultural elements.
Right. Wow. Robert, wow.
Thank you for
I
having
just-
us.
I don't often leave the show with I don't know what to say
Well,
feeling, but
the beautiful thing about it is that there's hope,
yep.
and we're available. So, to anyone listening, please call us.
What is is there something that sparks that idea in someone that maybe I'm in trouble?
I think that in all actuality, there's a threshold, where you go from the social user to the heavy user to the point where it is active addiction, or active substance use. And once that barrier and that threshold is crossed, there's no coming back to the social.
And in all honesty, a majority of people coming into our program are court-ordered. And that is really that place where they end
Gotcha.
up, where they actually begin to understand there's a problem.
They're involved
Yeah.
in something illegal, and the judge says you go to treatment or else.
That's right. And
And we'll
they
see you when
begin
you
to-
finish.
Exactly. They begin to recognize where their drug use has taken them and
I see.
what it's done to their families and
Right.
how it's progressed.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, with luck, I mean, what they do is not too severe, but it does get the attention they need for them.
And it provides the tools.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you have the skill set, there's, as we've said from the beginning, there's hope.
Right. Robert, Cynthia,
Thank you so
it's
much.
just, incredible what you guys do. I couldn't do it, I don't think.
You're doing it
But-
now.
You're doing
Well,
it
that's
now.
true.
You're
Okay, all
promoting
right.
everything.
Gotcha.
That's good. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what
so-
we do.
everybody who's out there, and there's nothing that says somebody in your family can't
Oh, absolutely.
promote getting you help.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And
they
I'm
may
a-
not pay attention
and
to
I'm
you,
I'm a
but
certified interventionist,
Right.
so we can help.
gotcha.
We help in many ways. And there's
Okay.
some people definitely are not ready and are just thinking about it. We have a thing called motivational interviewing. We'll talk to them and try to bring them,
Gotcha.
to a place where they're more thoughtful about what their actions are
Very
resulting
good.
in.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Robert.
Thank
Thank you, Cynthia. Maui Nonprofit
Thank you.
Notes is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Please give them a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. Pacific Source has been our sponsor from day one, and we thank them for their ongoing support. To you, our listeners, we thank you for the response our agencies get from you regarding the activities that we talk about on the program. Today we visited with Big Brothers Big Sisters, Courtney Ikawa, who was telling us about the programs they do. Their number is 442-7891. And second half of the show, we talked with Cynthia Santiago and Robert Cantrell of Ohana Makamai. Give them a call about their information, 248-8538. Wow, what a show we've had today, huh? This is great.
Absolutely.
We want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to join us again next week, right here, same time, same place, when we'll feature 2 more representatives of our Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Once again, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Ohana Makamai. I just, I told them earlier, I said, I'd hardly ever walk out of the show not knowing what to say, but it's so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
big.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Have a great week. Aloha.
Aloha.